Love doesn't usually end in a single day. It fades slowly, quietly, through small cracks that grow wider over time. According to relationship experts, there are warning signs, subtle but powerful indicators, that a breakup might be on the horizon. If you notice these in your relationship, it may be time to pause, reflect, and decide what love really means for both of you. Don't forget to subscribe, comment, and like to the channel, and hit the bell for more videos. Communication feels like a battle. Every conversation turns into a debate, a defense, or a cold silence. Experts say when couples stop listening and start competing to be right, emotional connection begins to die. You stop sharing the little things. Once upon a time, you shared everything: what made you laugh, how your day went, even your random thoughts. Now, you keep things to yourself because it feels like your partner just doesn't care anymore. Physical affection fades. A subtle but painful shift. No more holding hands, long hugs, or spontaneous touches. Psychologists say physical closeness often mirrors emotional closeness. When touch disappears, so does warmth. Constant criticism. Instead of building each other up, one or both partners start tearing the other down. Criticism slowly kills intimacy by replacing understanding with resentment. You feel lonely even when together. Experts call this emotional isolation. You're sitting beside each other, but your hearts feel miles apart. That's often the beginning of emotional detachment. Everything turns transactional. Love used to be about giving freely. Now it's, I'll do this if you do that. Once affection turns into a scorecard, the relationship becomes more about balance sheets than connection. Loss of respect. Respect is the foundation of every lasting relationship. When partners mock, belittle, or talk down to each other, it's not love anymore. It's control and frustration disguised as passion. No effort to resolve conflict. When one or both partners stop trying to fix problems, it's a silent surrender. Experts agree. Indifference, not anger, is the real death of love. You start imagining life without them. When your daydreams of peace or happiness no longer include your partner, your mind is already preparing to move on. Emotional neglect. You feel unseen, unheard, and unappreciated. When one partner's emotional needs go unmet for too long, they start to look elsewhere, sometimes physically, but more often emotionally. Avoiding each other. If being together feels more like a chore than comfort, that's a major red flag. Distance doesn't always start with space. It starts with avoidance. Lack of future talk. Couples who are in love talk about tomorrow. Couples heading toward a breakup stop talking about the future altogether. Too much blame, not enough. Accountability. One or both partners constantly shift responsibility. Experts note that when no one owns their part, no problem ever truly gets fixed. Emotional affairs. Even if it's not physical, emotional intimacy with someone outside the relationship often signals unmet needs and a weakening bond at home. Gut instinct. Deep down, your intuition whispers what your heart refuses to admit. Things aren't the same, and pretending won't save it. You start keeping secrets. Not necessarily cheating, just hiding little details. Experts call this micro-withdrawal. When you start editing your truth to avoid conflict, it's a sign trust is fading. You compare your partner to others. When admiration turns into comparison, why can't you be more like? You've begun emotionally disconnecting from who they really are. You feel drained after spending time together. Instead of feeling energized or safe, time with your partner feels heavy. That emotional exhaustion means your relationship has shifted from comfort to burden. You stop celebrating each other's wins. When one partner stops cheering for the other, the bond starts to weaken. Love turns competitive, not collaborative. Intimacy feels forced. Physical connection without emotional depth feels hollow. Experts say when intimacy feels like an obligation, emotional distance has already begun. One person is always the fixer. When one partner constantly repairs, apologizes, or smooths things over, while the other withdraws, it creates emotional burnout. You avoid eye contact during arguments. It's not just about looking away, it's emotional avoidance. When couples can't face each other, it means they've lost emotional safety. Jealousy replaces trust. Constant suspicion, checking phones, or questioning loyalty all stem from insecurity and signal that trust is breaking down. You don't miss each other anymore. Even when apart, you don't feel the need to reach out or connect. Experts say when missing someone stops, emotional attachment has faded. Everything feels predictable, routine is good. But when love becomes monotonous with no excitement or curiosity, the relationship feels lifeless. You feel unappreciated, small efforts go unnoticed. Words of affirmation fade away. Experts note that consistent lack of appreciation erodes emotional connection faster than arguments. Resentment has built up. Old arguments never truly end. They just pile up. Resentment is emotional poison, and once it settles in, love struggles to breathe. You argue about the same things repeatedly. Experts call this looping conflict. When couples keep fighting about the same issue, it's not about the topic, it's about unresolved emotional wounds. You feel like roommates, not lovers. The spark fades, romance disappears, and you just coexist under one roof. When passion turns into routine partnership, disconnection deepens. You've stopped dreaming together. In healthy love, couples talk about plans, goals, and the future. When those conversations stop, it's often a quiet signal that both hearts are drifting apart. Conclusion: breakups rarely come out of nowhere. They build up from neglect, pride, and disconnection. But recognizing these signs early doesn't always mean the end. It can mean the beginning of healing if both partners are willing. Experts agree. Relationships don't collapse overnight. They erode through disconnection, unspoken pain, and emotional neglect. But awareness is power. Noticing the signs doesn't mean it's too late. It means you have a choice: to reconnect, rebuild, or finally let go.